Hello, everyone. I'm your storyteller, and today I will read a chilling story that might sound eerily familiar to some of you. Maybe you've experienced something similar, or perhaps you've heard whispers of such tales before. I'm here to guide you through it. I know you're using this video to help you unwind or maybe drift off to sleep. Before we begin, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Tell me in the comments where you're from and what time you're watching this. Now, lay back comfortably, relax, and let's begin. Story 1. Maya Wilson was a woman who prided herself on being cautious. At 29, she had built a solid career as a marketing analyst in New York City. Life in the bustling metropolis was thrilling but equally isolating. Maya's daily routine revolved around endless meetings, coffee runs, and long subway rides. Her evenings, however, were quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos of the city. One evening in September 2021, Maya decided to try something new. After scrolling through Instagram and seeing her friends' happy couples posts, she downloaded a dating app called HeartMatch. It promised genuine connections, and Maya convinced herself it was time to break out of her comfort zone. Maya set up her profile: a foodie, a dog mom, and a coffee enthusiast looking for a partner in crime. Within hours, her inbox was flooded with matches, most of them forgettable, but one profile stood out: Ethan Carter. His bio read adventurer, bookworm, coffee addict. His photos showed a man in his early 30s with a warm smile, sharp blue eyes, and a love for nature. They began chatting, and Maya was surprised by how easy it felt to talk to him. Ethan was funny, charming, and seemed genuinely interested in her life. They messaged back and forth for hours every night, sharing details about their favorite books and travel dreams. After a week of chatting, Ethan suggested meeting in person. Maya hesitated, but something about Ethan seemed safe, almost familiar. Against her usual cautious nature, she agreed. Their first date was at a cozy Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. Maya arrived early, her nerves tingling with excitement and a hint of anxiety. When Ethan walked in, he looked even better in person. He greeted her with a confident smile and a gentle handshake. The evening flowed effortlessly. They laughed over shared stories, and Ethan's charisma was undeniable. Yet there were small things that unsettled Maya. He avoided direct answers about his job, simply stating he worked in consulting. His phone buzzed constantly, though he ignored it each time, and when she asked about his family, he quickly changed the subject. Still, Maya brushed off her unease. Everyone had their quirks, she thought. By the end of the evening, Ethan walked her to her car. He insisted she text him when she got home safely, which felt sweet and protective. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan's attention became intense. He messaged Maya constantly, wanting to know her every move. At first, she thought it was endearing, but soon it felt suffocating. One night, Maya went out with friends, something she had planned long before meeting Ethan. She didn't respond to his texts immediately, and when she finally checked her phone, there were 15 missed calls and countless messages. "Are you okay? Where are you? Why aren't you answering? You shouldn't ignore me, Maya." Her chest tightened. This wasn't normal. Maya texted back a polite response, explaining she was out with friends and would talk to him later. His reply was chilling. "I'll always know if you're lying, Maya." She froze. Was it a joke? The next morning, she decided to pull back. She sent Ethan a message explaining she needed space. His response was eerily calm. "I understand. Take all the space you need." But the calm didn't last. That evening, she found a bouquet of roses outside her apartment door. There was no note, but she knew it was from Ethan. Maya decided to block Ethan's number and delete the app. She hoped it would be enough, but her sense of safety was shattered when she noticed a figure lingering near her building several nights later. It was dark, but she recognized the silhouette. One night, while working late, Maya returned home to find her apartment door slightly ajar. She swore she had locked it. Her heart pounded as she stepped inside, clutching her phone tightly. The apartment seemed untouched, but on her kitchen counter was a single red rose. She called the police, who told her there was no sign of forced entry. They suggested she might have left the door unlocked. Maya knew better but couldn't prove otherwise. Terrified, she confided in her best friend Claire. Together, they dug deeper into Ethan's background. Claire suggested reverse searching his profile pictures. What they found made Maya's blood run cold. Ethan Carter didn't exist. The photos were stolen from a man in Oregon who had no idea they were being used. Whoever Maya had been speaking to was a stranger hiding behind a fake identity. Maya decided to stay with Claire for a while, but Ethan, or whoever he was, didn't stop. Anonymous texts began flooding her phone. "You can't hide from me, Maya. We're meant to be together." The messages escalated into threats. Maya's breaking point came when she found her dog Luna missing from her apartment. Hours later, she received a photo of Luna tied up, accompanied by a message: "Meet me at the park tonight or else." Desperate and shaking, Maya called the police, who agreed to accompany her to the location. Undercover officers surrounded the area as Maya stood in the dimly lit park. She spotted him, Ethan, or rather the man pretending to be him, emerging from the shadows with Luna in his arms. The man's eyes were wild, his calm demeanor replaced with an unhinged intensity. As he stepped closer, the officers swarmed in, pinning him to the ground. Maya grabbed Luna, tears streaming down her face. The man was arrested, but the ordeal wasn't over for Maya. The police uncovered that he had been stalking her long before she joined the dating app. He had used fake profiles to lure other women, some of whom were still missing. Months later, Maya moved to a new city. She deleted all her social media accounts and changed her phone number, but the trauma lingered. Every time her phone buzzed unexpectedly, her heart skipped a beat. Even now, when someone asks if she'd ever try online dating again, Maya's answer is always the same: never. Story 2. Alex Taylor was a 24-year-old university student living in London. A self-proclaimed introvert, Alex spent most evenings in his cramped studio flat, surrounded by books and the faint hum of the city outside. It wasn't that Alex disliked people, he just found it hard to connect. It was a chilly evening in November 2020 when Alex downloaded HeartMatch. His friends had encouraged him to try online dating, teasing him about his perpetual single status. Reluctantly, he set up a profile, choosing a simple photo of himself in a park, smiling awkwardly at the camera. For the first few days, Alex swiped half-heartedly. Most profiles blurred together, but then one caught his attention. A woman named Emma. Her profile was minimal, just a single picture of her standing in the shadow of an old church, her face partially obscured by long dark hair. Her bio read, "Looking for someone who believes in fate." Intrigued, Alex swiped right. To his surprise, it was an instant match. Emma messaged first. Her words were simple yet captivating. "Do you believe people meet for a reason?" Their conversation flowed effortlessly. Emma seemed curious about Alex's life, but avoided talking much about her own. She lived nearby, she said, but her answers about her daily life were vague. Still, there was something enchanting about her. After a week of chatting, Emma suggested meeting in person. Alex hesitated. Something about Emma felt different. But curiosity won over caution. They agreed to meet at the Hollow Bean, a small cafe tucked away in an older part of the city. The evening of their date was cold, and a dense fog blanketed the streets. Alex arrived early, sipping nervously on a latte as he waited. When Emma arrived, she was even more striking in person. Her pale complexion seemed to glow in the dim light, and her movements were slow, almost deliberate. They talked for hours, but Alex couldn't shake the strange atmosphere. The cafe lights flickered occasionally, and the air felt unnaturally cold around Emma. When she smiled, it didn't quite reach her eyes. As they said goodbye, Emma leaned in close and whispered, "You'll see me again soon." Alex smiled, unsure whether to feel flattered or unnerved. The first sign that something was wrong came the next night. Alex was reading in bed when he heard a faint knock at his door. He lived on the 3rd floor, and the building was secure. No one could get in without a key. Cautiously, he checked the peephole. No one was there. Over the next few days, strange occurrences piled up. His phone would buzz with notifications from Emma's profile, despite him deleting their match. The messages were chilling. "I'm closer than you think." "Why don't you let me in?" Alex reported the profile to the app and blocked her number, but the messages kept coming. Then one night, he woke to find his bedroom door ajar. He was certain he had locked it. The shadows in the corners of his flat seemed darker, thicker, as though they were watching him. One night, he swore he saw a figure standing at the foot of his bed, a woman with long dark hair, but when he turned on the light, she was gone. Desperate for answers, Alex decided to investigate. He reverse searched Emma's profile picture and stumbled upon a local news article from 5 years ago. The headline read, "Missing woman found dead in abandoned church." The article detailed the tragic story of Emma Morris, a 27-year-old who had vanished after meeting someone on a dating app. Her body was discovered weeks later in the crypt of an old church, her cause of death shrouded in mystery. Alex's heart raced as he recognized the church from her profile picture. It was the same one where her body had been found. Convinced he was being haunted, Alex sought help from a paranormal investigator. The investigator, a grizzled man named Graham, listened intently to Alex's story. "She's tethered to you," Graham explained. "Spirits like hers often latch onto people who connect with them emotionally. You opened a door, and now she doesn't want to let you go." Determined to break free, Alex returned to the church where Emma's body had been found. The air was heavy with silence, and the faint smell of decay lingered. Clutching a photograph of Emma, Alex lit a candle and placed it on the altar. He whispered an apology, begging her to move on. At first, nothing happened, but then the temperature plummeted. Shadows writhed along the walls, and Alex felt an icy hand brush his shoulder. Her voice echoed through the crypt. "You can't leave me. You promised." Summoning all his courage, Alex shouted, "I release you. Go in peace." For a moment, the shadows stilled. The air grew warmer, and the oppressive weight lifted. Alex collapsed to the ground, exhausted but relieved. Weeks passed, and the haunting stopped. Alex deleted the dating app and distanced himself from the digital world. But he wasn't the same. Every shadow, every flickering light brought a flicker of unease. He moved to a new flat, hoping for a fresh start. Yet, late at night, when the world was quiet, he sometimes heard a faint knock at his door. Alex never opened it. Story 3. Claire Dawson was 32, a talented graphic designer living in the heart of Chicago. From the outside, she seemed to have it all: a thriving career, a cozy apartment with a skyline view, and a close-knit group of friends. But beneath her confident exterior, Claire was lonely. Years of late nights at the office and tight project deadlines had left little time for romance. Her friends, many of whom were married or engaged, encouraged her to try online dating. "It's 2021, Claire," her best friend Megan had teased over coffee one Saturday morning. "Swipe right, have some fun. You never know who you might meet." With a mix of excitement and reluctance, Claire downloaded DateSphere, a popular app that promised meaningful connections. She spent the evening carefully crafting her profile. The matches rolled in quickly, but most were forgettable, until Adam's profile appeared. His photo showed a ruggedly handsome man standing on a hiking trail, the sun casting a golden glow over his chiseled features. His bio read, "Adventurer at heart, lover of books, and always up for a great conversation." Claire hesitated, then swiped right. Moments later, her phone buzzed. "It's a match." Adam messaged first. His words were simple yet charming. "What's a graphic designer like you doing on an app like this?" Their conversation flowed easily. Adam told her he worked as an environmental researcher, traveling often but currently based in Chicago. He seemed genuinely interested in Claire's work and her love for photography. After a week of late-night chats and shared laughter, Adam suggested they meet. Claire felt a flutter of nervous excitement. They agreed to meet at the Velvet Cup, a quiet coffee shop in the West Loop. Claire arrived early, her palms sweating as she clutched her phone. When Adam walked in, he looked exactly like his photo. Tall, broad-shouldered, with kind eyes and a warm smile. They spent hours talking, the conversation flowing effortlessly. But there was something about Adam, something Claire couldn't quite put her finger on. He was charming, yes, but his answers about his work and personal life were vague. When she asked for specifics, he would skillfully redirect the conversation. By the end of the evening, Adam walked her to her car. His goodbye was brief but left her heart racing. "I had a great time. Let's do this again soon." Claire woke the next morning to silence. No text from Adam. She shrugged it off, convincing herself he might be busy, but days turned into a week, and still nothing. Confused and slightly hurt, Claire decided to send a casual message. "Hey, I had a great time the other night. Hope all is well." The message went unread. Something didn't add up. Claire opened DateSphere to check Adam's profile, only to find it was gone. No trace of him remained. As the days passed, Claire's unease grew. She tried searching for Adam online, but there was nothing. No social media, no LinkedIn, not even a public records hit. It was as if he didn't exist. One night, as Claire worked late on a design project, she heard a soft knock at her door. It was almost midnight. She froze, her heart pounding. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. No response. When she peeked through the peephole, the hallway was empty. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. Objects in her apartment seemed to move on their own. A framed photo of Claire and Megan fell from the shelf, the glass shattering. Her computer turned on by itself, displaying a blank screen. Then came the messages. At first, they appeared on her phone. "Why did you stop looking for me?" "You can't just forget about me, Claire." Claire blocked the number, but the messages continued, this time appearing as emails. Desperate for answers, Claire confided in Megan. Together, they scoured the internet, searching for anything that could explain who Adam really was. Megan stumbled upon an old news article. The headline read, "Man Missing After Meeting Woman on Dating App." The article detailed the story of a man named Adam Cross, who had vanished in 2018 after meeting someone on DateSphere. His last known location was a coffee shop in the West Loop, the same shop where Claire had met Adam. The article included a chilling detail. Witnesses claimed Adam had left the cafe that night with a woman whose description eerily matched Claire's. Terrified, Claire decided to report the incidents to the police. An officer visited her apartment, but without tangible evidence, there was little they could do. One evening, as Claire walked home from work, she felt a prickle at the back of her neck. Someone was following her. She quickened her pace, glancing over her shoulder. A man in a dark coat trailed her, his face obscured by the shadows. Claire ducked into a convenience store, her hands trembling as she pretended to browse the aisles. When she finally mustered the courage to look outside, the man was gone. But when she returned home, her worst fear was confirmed. On her kitchen counter was a single black feather, just like the one Adam had shown her during their date, a token from his favorite hiking trail, he had said. Determined to end the nightmare, Claire revisited the velvet cup. The cafe was dimly lit and nearly empty. She sat in the same spot where she had first met Adam, her hands clenched into fists. Hours passed. Just as she was about to leave, she saw him, Adam, or what looked like him. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. He sat across from her, smiling faintly. "I told you," he whispered. "You can't forget me." Claire couldn't move, paralyzed by fear, but as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone. Claire never saw Adam again, but his presence lingered. She moved to a new apartment, deleted all her dating apps, and changed her number. Yet some nights she still felt his gaze in the shadows or heard a soft knock at her door. She never opened it.